The Empire had been conquering planets for 300 years. They had taken 17 star systems. They had never lost a single war. Their method was simple and cruel. They would land on a planet, take all the children, and wait. Every species in the galaxy loved their young. Every species would surrender to get them back. It always worked, every single time. Commander OK stood on the bridge of his great warship, the Endless Dominion. He was old for his scales had turned almost white. His 4 eyes had seen 60 different species kneel before him. He had taken thousands of children from thousands of worlds. He felt nothing when he did it. To him, it was just work. Today, his target was a small human colony called Nu. It sat on a green moon orbiting a gas giant. The humans had been in space for only 200 years. They were young, weak. They had no great warships, no powerful weapons. They would be easy. "Begin the landing," OK ordered. 20 transport ships descended through the clouds. The colonists saw them coming. They had no way to stop them. In a small house near the edge of the colony, a woman named Park watched the ships land through her window. She was 34 years old. Her black hair was cut short. Her eyes were calm and steady. She wore the uniform of the Colonial Defense Force, but she knew her small unit could not fight the. No one could. "Mama," a small voice said behind her. Turned, her daughter stood in the doorway. She was 7 years old. She had her mother's dark eyes and her father's round face. Her father had died 2 years ago, killed in a mining accident. Now it was just the two of them. "They are coming for us," said. It was not a question. Knelt down in front of her daughter. She took her small hands in her own. "Yes, they will take you and the other children. Do you remember what we practiced?" Nodded. Her face was serious. She did not cry. She had not cried since her father died. "Do not fight them," recited. "Do not show fear, do not tell them anything. Wait for mother." Felt her heart breaking, but she did not let it show on her face. "Good girl, and where is mother?" Touched her chest, right below her collarbone. Beneath her skin was a tiny device, smaller than a grain of rice. A beacon. Every child in the colony had one. The scanners could not detect them. "Mother is always listening," said. Pulled her daughter close and held her tight. She wanted to cry. She wanted to scream. She wanted to grab and run and never stop running. But there was nowhere to run. And besides, running was not the plan. The plan was much worse, for the door crashed open. 3 soldiers pushed inside. They were tall and thin, with scales and 4 yellow eyes each. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. "The child," one of them said in broken human language. "Give us the child." Stood up slowly. She kept her hands where they could see them. "I am Captain Park of the Colonial Defense Force. I am surrendering my daughter to you under protest. I want this recorded." The soldier made a sound like laughter. "Recorded? For what purpose? Your protest means nothing human." "Perhaps," said quietly, "but I want you to remember this moment. I want you to remember that I gave her to you peacefully. I want you to remember that I did not fight." The soldier grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the door. Did not resist. She walked calmly like she was going to school. At the door, she stopped and looked back at her mother. Gave her a small nod. Nodded back. Then she was gone. Across the colony, the same scene repeated 147 times. 147 children were pulled from their homes. 147 parents stood and watched and did nothing. The soldiers found it strange. On other worlds, the parents would scream. They would fight. They would claw and bite and die trying to protect their young. The humans did none of this. They just stood there with their dark eyes and their still faces, watching. "They are cold," one soldier said to another. "They do not love their young like normal species." "It makes our job easier," the other replied. They were wrong. They were so very wrong. The humans loved their children more than any species they had ever encountered. But humans were different. Humans knew how to wait. Humans knew how to plan. Humans knew that sometimes the best way to win was to lose first. The children were loaded onto transport ships. Found herself pushed into a large metal room with dozens of other children. Some of the younger ones were crying. A small boy, maybe 4 years old, was screaming for his mother. Went to him. She knelt down and took his hands, just like her mother had done with her. "What is your name?" she asked. The boy sobbed, "I want my mama." "I know," said. "I want my mama too, but we have to be quiet now, we have to be brave. Can you do that?" Sniffled, "Why?" Leaned close and whispered in his ear. "Because our mothers are coming for us, but it is a secret. The bad aliens cannot know, so we have to be quiet and wait. Can you wait with me?" Nodded slowly. He stopped screaming. He held his hand and did not let go. One by one went to the other children. She calmed them. She reminded them of what they had been taught. By the time the transport ship lifted off, all 147 children were sitting quietly, waiting. In the command center of the colony, Park stood before a holographic display. Around her were 32 other mothers and 19 fathers. All of them had children on those transport ships. The display showed a map of the local star systems. 147 tiny dots of light were moving away from the colony, climbing toward the warship in orbit. "We have signal lock on all beacons," said a man named. He was tall and thin with gentle eyes. He had been a schoolteacher before today. His daughter, age 9, was on that ship. "The is ready," said a woman named. She was short and strong with flour still on her hands from her bakery. Her son, age 6, was on that ship. Looked at her people. They were not soldiers. They were teachers and bakers and farmers and engineers. They had never fired a weapon in anger. They had never killed anyone. But their children had been taken. "We knew this day might come," said. "We prepared for it. Now we execute the plan, we follow them, we find them, we get our children back." "And the?" asked a man named. His voice was hard. His twin daughters were on that ship. His face did not change. Her voice did not rise, but something in her eyes made everyone in the room feel cold. Thus she said, "We'll learn why humans are different. They will learn why you never, ever take a human child." She turned to the display. The dots were getting smaller as the transport ships approached the warship. "They think they have taken hostages," said. "They think they have one. They do not understand what they have done." She touched the screen, right where her daughter's beacon was blinking. "They have not captured our children. They have rung a dinner bell, and now we are going to answer." The parents began to move. They had work to do. They had a ship to launch. They had children to save. And God help anyone who got in their way. The Endless Dominion was the largest warship had ever seen. It was 5 kilometers long, shaped like a great black knife cutting through space. When the transport ship flew into its belly, felt like she was being swallowed by a monster. The children were marched through long hallways. Soldiers walked on either side of them, their weapons ready. The walls were cold metal. The lights were dim and yellow. Everything smelled wrong, like chemicals in something rotten. Held Little's hand the whole way. She counted her steps. She memorized every turn. Left, then right, then left again, then down a long ramp. Her mother had taught her to always know where she was, always know the way out. They were put in a large holding cell. It had metal walls and a metal floor and a metal ceiling. There were no beds, no chairs, no windows, just a single door that locked behind them with a heavy clunk. 147 children stood in that cold room. The youngest was age 4. The oldest was a boy named age 12. He was big for his age, with broad shoulders and angry eyes. "We should fight," said. "When they open the door, we rush them, we take their weapons." "No," said. Looked down at her. He was almost twice her size. "Who are you to tell me no? You are just a little kid." "I am. My mother is Captain Park. She told me the plan. Fighting is not the plan." "Your mother is not here," said. No one is coming for us, we have to save ourselves. Shook her head. She was not afraid of the bigger boy. She was not afraid of anything right now. Fear was a luxury she could not afford. They are coming, she said. But they need time. We have to give them time. If we fight now, we will lose. They will hurt us, maybe kill us. And then our parents will have nothing to save. His face twisted with anger and fear. But before he could speak, a girl named stepped forward. She was 10 years old with long hair and clever eyes. She is right, said. My father works in defense. He told me about the beacons. They are tracking us right now. They know exactly where we are. My mother said the same thing, said another child. Mine too. And mine. One by one, the children spoke up. They had all been told the same things. They had all been prepared for this day, not because their parents wanted it to happen, but because their parents knew it might. Looked around at all the faces. Slowly his shoulders dropped. The anger left his eyes, replaced by something like hope. You really think they are coming? He asked. Nodded. I know they are, but we have to be smart until then. We have to watch and learn. Find out everything we can about this ship. When our parents come, we need to be ready to help them. Was quiet for a moment, then he nodded. Okay, what do you need me to do? Smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. Watch the guards, learn their routines, how many come, when they come, what weapons they carry. Can you do that? I can do that, said. Turn 2, you are good with numbers. Count everything. How many steps to the door, how long between guard visits, everything. Got it, said. Looked at the other children. Everyone else, stay calm, take care of each other. The little ones need us to be strong. Can you do that? They all nodded. Felt something warm in her chest. Pride maybe, or hope. These were good kids, brave kids, human kids. They would survive this, together. 3 hours later the door opened. An officer walked in. He was different from the soldiers. His scales were darker, almost black. He wore a long robe instead of armor. His 4 eyes moved slowly across the room, studying each child like they were insects in a jar. I am Al, he said. His human words were better than the soldiers, almost perfect. I am the one who will be talking to you, getting to know you, learning your secrets. No one spoke. Al made a sound that might have been a laugh. Silent, good. I like silent. Screaming gives me headaches. He pointed at you, the little one who calmed the others. You will come with me first. Let go of his hand. It is okay, she told him. I will be back soon. She walked toward Al. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept her face calm. She thought about her mother. She thought about the beacon under her skin. She thought about the word that had become her prayer. Wait, just wait. Al led her to a small room down the hall. There was a table and 2 chairs. He sat on one side. She sat on the other. Do you know why we take children? Al asked. Said nothing. We take children because parents will do anything to get them back. They will surrender. They will give us their planets, their resources, their freedom, all for their little ones. He leaned forward. But your parents did not fight at all. They just stood there. Why? Looked at him with her dark eyes. She remembered what her mother had told her. To think they are the hunters. Let them think that, until it is too late. Maybe they do not love us, said. Al tilted his head. You do not believe that. Maybe I do. No, I have studied humans. I have read your books, watched your movies. Humans love their young. It is in everything you create. Your stories are full of parents saving children, protecting children, dying for children. He leaned closer. His breath smelled like metal. So why did your parents not fight? What are they planning? Felt a tiny smile try to form on her lips. She pushed it down. I am 7 years old. What could I know about plans? Al stared at her for a long moment. Then he stood up and walked around the table. He bent down until his face was right next to hers. I think you know more than you say, he whispered. I think you are a clever little human, but I am clever too. I will find out what you are hiding. Turned her head and looked directly into his yellow eyes. She was not afraid. Her mother was coming. She just had to wait. You should not raise your voice, said softly. Mother does not like it. Al pulled back. Your mother is not here, little one. She is far away. She cannot hear you. Smiled now. She could not help it. The smile made Al uncomfortable. It was not a child's smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret, a big secret. Mother hears everything, said. Al stared at her. For the first time he felt something strange, something cold in his stomach. He had seen many species. He had broken many prisoners. But this little human girl looked at him like he was the one in danger. Take her back to the others, he ordered the guard. As was led away, she touched her chest lightly, right over the beacon, right over her heart. Keep listening, Mama, she thought. I will be brave, I will wait. Just please hurry. Far away on a ship called the Captain Park watched her daughter's beacon blink on a screen. She had not eaten in 2 days. She had not slept in 3. We have their course, reported. They will drop out of hyperspace in 16 hours for navigation checks. That is when we hit them, said. Our ship is not a warship, said quietly. We have no real weapons. How do we fight them? Turned to face her people. 51 parents, teachers and bakers and farmers, not a single trained soldier among them. We do not need to beat them, said. We just need to get inside, get to our children, and get out. And if we die trying? Asked. His eyes were hard as stone. Then we die, but our children will not grow up in cages. Our children will not be used as tools to break other humans. We will save them or we will die trying. There is no other option. No one argued, no one questioned. They had children to save. And nothing in the galaxy would stop them. There was not a beautiful ship. It was ugly and old and covered in scars from years of hard work. It had been built to carry cargo, not to fight wars. Its hull was thick, but its engines were slow. It had no weapons except for a single mining laser meant for cutting asteroids. But inside that ugly ship were 51 parents who had not slept in 3 days. 51 parents who had spent every moment preparing for what was coming. 51 parents who would burn down the galaxy to save their children. Captain Park sat in the captain's chair. It did not fit her well. This original captain had been a bigger person, but did not care about comfort. She only cared about the small blinking dot on her screen, her daughter, her. 12 minutes to intercept, reported from the navigation station. His hands were shaking slightly. He was a school teacher. He had spent his life reading books and helping children with homework. Now he was helping plan an attack on an alien warship. The universe had a strange sense of humor. Is everyone in position? Asked. All teams ready, confirmed. She had traded her baker's apron for a piece of makeshift armor made from cargo container panels. In her hands was a metal pipe sharpened to a point at one end. Not much of a weapon, but it would have to do. Checked his equipment one more time. He had built something special in the last 3 days. A device that would help them get through the ship's doors. He was not sure it would work. He had built it from spare parts and hope. Remember the plan, said to everyone through the ship's communication system. We hit them hard and fast. Team 1 goes for the holding cells. Team 2 secures the docking bay for our escape. Team 3 creates distractions. No one stops moving. No one goes back for anyone who falls. Our only goal is the children. She paused, her throat felt tight. I know some of us will not come back. I know this is a suicide mission. But our children are counting on us. They are waiting for us. They believe in us. We will not let them down. We will not let them down, 50 voices repeated. Looked at the screen. The endless dominion was just ahead, floating in empty space. It was doing exactly what they had hoped. It had dropped out of hyperspace to check its navigation. For the next 20 minutes, it would be sitting still. An easy target. If you could call a 5-kilometer warship an easy target. Bring us in fast, ordered. Aim for the docking bay where they loaded the children. They will see us coming, said. They will fire on us. I know. We have no shields. A few hits and we are dead. I know. Looked at her, his eyes were red from no sleep. You have a plan for that. Smiled, it was not a happy smile. Yes, we do not dodge, we do not slow down, we just keep going. That is not a plan, that is crazy. Maybe, but they have never seen crazy before. They have fought species that make sense, species that retreat when hurt, species that surrender when beaten. Smile grew harder. Humans are not like that. Humans are stupid and stubborn and we do not know when to quit. That is our advantage. They flew toward the endless dominion. On the great warship, alarms began to sound. Commander OK was in his private room when the alarm went off. He had been reviewing reports about the human children. They were strange, those humans, too calm, too quiet. It bothered him in a way he could not explain. Commander, to the bridge, the speaker announced. Unknown vessel approaching. OK walked quickly to the bridge. His officers were staring at the main screen with confused expressions. Report, OK ordered. One vessel, Commander, small, old, a cargo ship. I think it is coming directly at us. One ship, OK looked at the screen. The vessel was small and ugly. It looked like something that should have been thrown away years ago. Where did it come from? Unknown. It was hiding behind one of the nearby moons. We did not detect it until now. OK felt that strange cold feeling again. The same feeling Al had reported after talking to the human child. Have they made any demands, any communication? Yes, Commander, they sent one message. Play it. A human voice filled the bridge. It was a woman's voice, calm and cold as ice. Vessel, you have taken our children. You will return them. You will not be warned again. Silence on the bridge. Then one of the officers laughed. One ship, they threaten us with one ship. They must be insane. Perhaps, OK said. He did not laugh. He was remembering all the strange things about the humans, the way they surrendered without fighting, the way their children sat in silence, the way that little girl had smiled at Al. Commander, the officer asked, your orders. OK made his decision. He could not show weakness. He could not let one small ship frighten him. Destroy them. The endless dominion's weapons came to life. Beams of energy shot across space toward the first beam hit the small ship's side, tearing a hole in the hull. The second beam took out one of the engines. On the ship shook like it was being torn apart. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. A section of the cargo bay was gone, open to space. We lost 12 people, someone reported, their voice breaking. Gripped the arms of her chair. 12 people, 12 parents, gone in a second. Keep going, she said. Her voice did not shake. She would not let it shake. Do not stop. Another hit. We are losing atmosphere in Section 4. Keep going. Captain, we cannot. Keep going, stood up. Our children are on that ship. Nothing stops us, nothing. They kept flying. It was falling apart. It was on fire. People were dying, but it kept going. On the endless dominion, Commander OK watched in confusion. Why are they not retreating? He asked. They must know they cannot survive this. I do not know, Commander. They just keep coming. Hit them again. Another blast, another chunk of the torn away, and still it came. Commander, they are aiming for our docking bay. OK felt his blood go cold. The docking bay where we keep the prisoners. Yes, Commander. They would not. Their own children are there. They would not risk. But even as he said it, he knew he was wrong. The humans were not trying to fight his ship. They were not trying to win. They were trying to get inside. They were going to crash their ship into his. All power to forward shields, OK shouted. Close the docking bay doors now. Too late. They hit the endless dominion at full speed. The small ship smashed through the docking bay doors like a rock through glass. Metal screamed. Fire exploded. The impact shook the entire warship. OK was thrown to the floor. When he looked up, the screen showed the remains of the lodged in his docking bay like a knife in a wound. "Damage report," he gasped. "Docking bay 3 is gone. We have fires on 6 decks. Hull breach in multiple sections. Survivors from the human ship." Before anyone could answer, the reports started coming in. Fighting in the corridors. Soldiers dying. Humans moving through the ship like ghosts. "They are alive," an officer whispered in disbelief. "They crashed their ship into us and they are still alive." OK stood slowly. He was beginning to understand. He was beginning to see what kind of creatures he was dealing with. "How many?" he asked. "Reports are confused, Commander. At least 30, maybe more. They are heading toward the prisoner-holding area." "Send everyone, every soldier, stop them." "Yes, Commander." OK walked to the main screen. He watched the chaos spreading through his ship, fires burning, soldiers dying, and somewhere in that chaos, human parents fighting their way toward their children. He had taken children from 60 species. He had never seen anything like this. "What are you?" he whispered to the screen. Far away in the holding cell heard the explosion. The whole ship shook. The lights flickered. The other children looked scared, but smiled. "They are here," she said softly. "Mother is here." She looked at, "Get everyone ready. When our parents come, we need to move fast." Nodded. His eyes were bright with tears and hope. "Yes," he said, "we are ready." The waiting was over. Now came the hard part. The crash killed 19 parents, 19 people who would never see their children again. Their bodies lay in the wreckage of the, mixed with twisted metal and broken dreams. But 32 parents survived. They crawled out of the ruins like ghosts rising from graves. They were burned. They were bleeding. Some had broken bones. None of them stopped. Was the first one out. Her left arm was badly hurt, maybe broken. She did not care. She had a pulse rifle in her right hand, taken from a dead soldier. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. She wiped it away and kept moving. "Team 1 with me," she said. Her voice was rough from smoke. "We are going for the children. Team 2, secure this bay. Team 3, make noise. Draw them away from us." No one argued. No one hesitated. They had practiced this 100 times on the journey here. Everyone knew their job. Was on Team 1. She had lost her sharpened pipe in the crash. Now she carried a piece of the ship's hull, jagged and sharp as a sword. Her face was burned on one side. She did not seem to notice. "Which way?" she asked. Looked at the small device on her wrist. It showed the beacon signals. 147 little lights, all in one place. "Left, then down 2 levels, then right. They are close." They moved through the corridors like wolves hunting in the dark. The ship was in chaos, fires burning, alarms screaming, smoke everywhere. The aliens did not know what was happening. They did not know where to look. They had never been attacked inside their own ship before. The first soldiers they met were not ready. 4 of them, standing in a hallway looking confused. Shot 2 of them before they could react. Killed the 3rd with her metal blade. The gentle schoolteacher broke the 4th one's neck with his bare hands. They did not stop. They did not look back. They kept moving. Behind them, Team 3 was doing their job. They were running through the ship, making as much noise as possible, setting fires, breaking things, drawing the soldiers away from the real target. A woman named led Team 3. Her son was 8 years old. She had not stopped crying since they crashed, but she had not stopped fighting either. Tears and blood mixed on her face as she ran through the alien ship, screaming and shooting and causing chaos. "Over here," she shouted, "come and get us." Soldiers chased her, more and more of them. They thought they were hunting the humans. They did not realize they were being led away like dogs following a bone. Team 2 held the docking bay, commanded them. They had built barricades from the wreckage. They had taken weapons from dead aliens. They waited for the children to come. "Hold this position," told his people. "No matter what comes through that door, hold it. The children need a way out." Back in the corridors, Team 1 was getting close. Could see the holding cell on her tracker, just around the next corner. So close. Too easy. The thought hit her just as the trap did. 20 soldiers were waiting for them. They had set up a blockade in the hallway. Their weapons were aimed and ready. "Stop," their commander shouted. "Surrender or die." His team was 12 people. 12 injured, exhausted parents against 20 armed soldiers. "Surrender," laughed. It was not a nice laugh. "We crashed our ship into yours. We walked through fire to get here. Do you really think we would stop now?" She raised her rifle. "Charge." What happened next was not a battle. It was a storm. 12 humans threw themselves at 20. They were and outnumbered. They should have died in seconds. But they did not fight like soldiers. They fought like parents. They fought like people who had nothing left to lose. Took a shot to the shoulder. She kept going. She buried her metal blade in a soldier's chest and used his body as a shield. Then she picked up his weapon and kept shooting. Got hit in the leg. He fell, got up and fell again. Stood over him, ready to finish him off. Grabbed the alien's leg and pulled him down. They fought on the ground, clawing and biting. One moved through the battle like a ghost. Her broken arm hung useless at her side. Her good arm never stopped shooting. She did not feel pain. She did not feel fear. She only felt the beacon pulling her forward. Her daughter. Her. When it was over, all 20 were dead. 7 humans had fallen. 7 more parents who would never hold their children again. "Keep moving," said. There was no time to mourn, no time to rest. "We are almost there." They reached the holding cell. The door was thick metal, locked tight. The device was gone, destroyed in the crash. "How do we get in?" asked. Looked at the lock. Then she looked at her rifle. Then she looked at the wall next to the door. "The wall is weaker than the door," she said. "Everyone back." She set her rifle to maximum power and fired, again and again. The wall began to glow red, then orange, then white. Inside the cell, the children heard the noise. They saw the wall starting to melt. "Get back," shouted. He pushed the younger children behind him. "Everyone get back." The wall exploded inward. Smoke and fire poured through the hole, and through the smoke came a figure, a woman with blood on her face and fire in her eyes. Mama screamed, dropped her rifle and ran to her daughter. She fell to her knees and pulled into her arms. For one moment, just one moment, she let herself feel everything. The fear, the pain, the love, it all crashed over her like a wave. "I am here," she whispered. "I am here, baby. Mama is here." Held her mother tight. She was crying now. For the first time since her father died, she let herself cry. "I knew you would come," she said. "I knew it." But they were not safe yet. A voice came from the doorway, very touching. Looked up. Al stood in the entrance to the cell. He was holding Little, a blade pressed against the boy's throat. "One more step and the child dies," Al said. Slowly stood up. She pushed behind her. "Let him go," she said. "No, you will surrender, all of you. Or I will kill him and then another and another until you do." Was crying. His small body was shaking with fear, but he looked at with wide eyes, silently asking what to do. Remembered her mother's teachings. Stay calm, wait for the moment, trust your family. She gave a tiny nod. Mama said quietly, "Yes." He is holding with his right hand. His weapon is in his left hand. He cannot use both at the same time. Al's eyes went wide. "What?" "Close your eyes," said calmly. Closed his eyes. What happened next took less than 2 seconds. Moved faster than Al thought possible. She grabbed his left wrist and twisted. The blade fell from his hand. At the same time, came from the side and pulled away. Al tried to fight back. He was bigger and stronger. It did not matter, was not fighting with her body. She was fighting with 3 days of no sleep and no food. She was fighting with the memory of her daughter being dragged from her arms. She was fighting with the rage of a mother who had walked through fire for her child. She broke his arm, she broke his leg, she broke his face. When she was done, Al lay on the floor, barely alive. He looked up at her with his 4 yellow eyes full of fear. What are you?" he gasped. Looked down at him, her face was calm, her voice was soft. "I am a mother," she said, "and you took my child." She turned away from him. "Everyone move, we are leaving." 147 children followed the surviving parents through the broken ship. They moved fast, stepping over bodies and burning wreckage. When they reached the docking bay, was waiting with a captured shuttle. "Everyone in," he shouted, "now." Children poured into the shuttle. Parents counted heads looking for their own. Found her son and pulled him close. His daughter ran into his arms. One by one, parents and children found each other. One by one, families were made whole again. Strapped into a seat on the shuttle, her hands were shaking now. The adrenaline was wearing off. The pain was starting to come. "You are hurt," said, looking at her mother's arm. "I will be okay. You saved us, all of us." Smiled, a real smile this time, tired but true. That is what mothers do. The shuttle launched from the endless dominion, carrying 147 children and the 27 parents who had survived. 24 parents had died, 24 heroes who would never be forgotten. Behind them, the warship burned. Commander OK kneeled on the floor of his own bridge. His hands were bound behind his back. His officers kneeled beside him. The great warship Endless Dominion drifted in space, broken and burning. In front of him stood the humans. There were only 27 of them. 27 tired, bloody, injured parents. They should not have been able to do this. They should not have been able to beat his soldiers. They should not have been able to capture his ship. But they had. OK looked up at the woman who seemed to be their leader, Captain Park. She was small for a human. Her left arm hung broken at her side. Blood covered half her face. She looked like she might fall down at any moment. But her eyes were the most frightening things OK had ever seen. They were calm, cold, certain, the eyes of someone who would do anything for her child. Behind her stood the children, 147 of them. They watched in silence. Their eyes were just as calm as their parents' eyes, just as cold, just as certain. A small girl stepped forward, the one who had told Al that mother was listening. She walked until she was standing right in front of OK. "Do you understand now?" she asked softly. OK did not answer. He did not know what to say. Put her good hand on her daughter's shoulder. "We have a message for your empire," she said. "You will deliver it." "What message?" OK asked. His voice was rough, defeated. "You have conquered 17 star systems. You have taken thousands of children from dozens of species. You thought you understood how the universe works. You thought you knew what parents would do to save their young." Knelt down, bringing her face close to his. Her voice was soft, almost gentle, like a mother telling a story to a child. "You were wrong. You studied our defenses, our weapons, our technology, but you did not study us. You did not understand what humans really are." She stood up. "We are not a species that surrenders. We are not a species that breaks. When you threaten us, we do not kneel. When you hurt us, we do not run. When you take our children." She paused. Her eyes grew harder. "When you take our children, we do not negotiate. We do not make deals. We do not stop to count the cost. We simply come for them across any distance, through any fire, against any enemy." Stepped forward. His twin daughters stood on either side of him, holding his hands. 24 parents died today," he said. 24 mothers and fathers gave their lives for their children. They did not hesitate. They did not complain. They were happy to die if it meant their children would live. Came next. Her son was in her arms, his face buried in her neck. "Do you know what I was before today?" she asked. "I was a baker. I made bread and cakes. I had never hurt anyone in my life. Today I killed 9 of your soldiers with my bare hands." She looked at OK with eyes that held no mercy. That is what a human parent becomes when you take their child. That is what we all become. Teachers become killers. Farmers become warriors. There is nothing we will not do, nothing we will not sacrifice, nothing we will not destroy. Stood behind them. His daughter held his hand tightly. "You thought our children were hostages," he said. "You thought they would make us weak, make us surrender, but you had it backwards." Stepped forward again, 7 years old, small and thin, but when she spoke, her voice carried the weight of something much older. "Human children are not prey," she said. "Human children are not hostages." She looked directly into OK's 4 yellow eyes. "Human children are bait. When you take us, you do not capture something valuable. You ring a dinner bell, and our parents come running." Pulled OK to his feet. She was not gentle about it. "You will go back to your empire," she said. "You will tell them what happened here, every detail. You will show them the recordings from this ship. Let them see what 51 parents did to their mighty warship. Let them see how we walked through fire and death to save our children." She pushed him toward the door. "And you will give them one warning, just one. Make sure they understand it clearly." OK stopped. He turned back to look at her. "What warning?" he asked. Smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Never touch our children again. Never come near our colonies again. Never even think about using our young against us. Because next time we will not just save our children. Next time we will come to your home worlds. We will find your leaders, your commanders, your families." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "And we will show you what it feels like. We will show you the fear, the helplessness, the rage. We will teach you the lesson you tried to teach us." She turned away. "Now get off my ship." OK and his officers were put in escape pods and launched toward the nearest outpost. They would survive. They would deliver the message. They would tell the Empire what they had seen. The humans used the damaged, endless dominion to send themselves home. It was slow and painful. Many of them needed medical help that the ship could not provide, but they made it. 3 days later, the great warship limped into orbit around Nu. The whole colony came out to watch. They saw the huge vessel and burning. They saw the human flag flying from its bridge. And they saw the shuttle that came down carrying their children. The reunion was loud and messy and beautiful. Parents who had stayed behind finally held their children again. Children who had been brave for so long finally let themselves cry. The whole colony became one giant family, hugging and crying and laughing together. Stood with her mother watching it all. She was very tired. Her whole body hurt, but she was happy, happier than she had been since her father died. "Mama," she said. "Yes, baby." "Will they come back?" Thought about it. She looked up at the stars, somewhere out there, where the Empire was learning a new lesson about humanity. "No," she said finally, "I do not think they will." "How do you know?" Knelt down and looked into her daughter's eyes. The same dark eyes that had stared down alien interrogators. The same calm face that had helped keep 100 children from panicking. Her brave, wonderful daughter. "Because they finally understand what we are," said. "They finally understand that there is nothing in the universe more dangerous than a human protecting their young. They will find easier targets, safer prey. They will leave us alone." Nodded slowly, then she asked another question. "What about the other species, the ones they already conquered, the ones whose children they still have?" Smiled. It was a different kind of smile, a planning smile. "Well," she said, "maybe we should do something about that. Maybe we should show those other species that they do not have to be afraid anymore. Maybe we should teach the whole galaxy what humans can do. Smiled back, the same planning smile. I would like that, she said. Far away in the halls of the Empire, OK delivered his report. He showed the recordings. He told the story. He watched his leaders grow pale with fear. Remove humanity from all target lists, the Emperor ordered. No ship is to enter their space. No soldier is to touch their worlds. They are forbidden. Yes, Emperor. And spread the warning to all our territories, all our allies. Everyone must know. The warning spread fast. Within 1 month, every species in that part of the galaxy knew the story. The crazy humans, the suicide attack, the parents who walked through fire. And they knew the warning. Do not touch human children. Do not threaten human families. Do not make human parents angry. Because when you take a human child, you do not gain a hostage. You make an enemy of every human who has ever loved anything. And there is nothing more dangerous in all the stars. Years later, when young aliens asked their parents about the humans, they would hear the story. They would hear about the 51 parents and the burning ship and the little girl who warned her captors that mother was listening. And they would hear the warning that every species learned to whisper. Do not raise your voice near humans. Do not threaten their cubs. Do not make them afraid for their young. Because somewhere, somehow, no matter how far away, Mother is always listening. And mothers always come. Always. The end.